MJF versus Ospreay delivers. Nic Nemeth is the new TNA World Champion. It's all here on the Wrestling's Bullshit Report. Thanks for joining me. Way to botch the beginning. Thanks for joining me, guys. Let's talk some pro wrestling. Let's start with the results, of course. We start with the last episode of Monday Night Raw, where the Creed brothers actually aligned with Chad Gable to put a beating on Bo Dallas before the Wyatt Six came and put a stop to all that. So, kind of an interesting segment here where Chad Gable went to the ring on Monday Night Raw by himself and he went to go call out Bo Dallas and the Wyatt Six, of course. And he ends up being formally aligned with the Creed brothers, which is interesting. A lot of us have been waiting for that faction to form, and it did form. And it looks like we'll get Chad Gable and the Creed brothers against the Wyatt Six in some form. Next, man, AEW Dynamite opens up with a damn near 60-minute barn burner as MJF takes on Will Ospreay for the AEW International Championship with seconds left on the 60-minute time limit. MJF goes ahead and gets the victory against Will Ospreay. Your new AEW International Champion is MJF. It's crazy to think that guys like MJF, guys like Jon Moxley have held the AEW International Championship. This is definitely an interesting championship, and now MJF has taken the championship from Will Ospreay. And we'll see what happens with All In. We will see if we get, MJF versus Daniel Garcia at All In, or MJF versus Will Ospreay, or a triple threat MJF, Will Ospreay, and Daniel Garcia for that international championship. Very interesting stuff here, you guys. Nonetheless, MJF is your new AEW International Champion, and AEW arguably put on the best match of 2024. Arguably. I'm not saying I personally think that, but it's definitely up there with the matches that we've seen this year. It was a badass. It was a badass wrestling match, guys. It reminded me of Omega and Okada, no lie. And a lot of people are saying that this is the closest thing we've ever had to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania 3, which is crazy, which is a crazy compliment. The only thing I can agree on, guys, for sure, is that this match was one in a million. Absolutely. Let's move on. We move on to AEW Collision, which actually took place at the same time as TNA Slammiversary. So I know a lot of you guys didn't see it, but the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus defeated the Bang Bang Gang for the AEW World Trios Championship. So we have new AEW World Trios champions that were crowned on Collision. Well deserved for the Patriarchy. Last but not least, on the results this week, guys, we actually had TNA Slammiversary this past Saturday night, which was a fantastic pay-per-view put on by TNA. Not only did we have Nic Nemeth win the TNA World Championship in the main event, but we also had Mike Bailey regain the X Division Championship, and then we had ABC also become a 3-time TNA World Tag Team Champion. So a lot of titles changing hands here. We also had PCO defeat AJ Francis for not only the TNA Digital Media Championship, but also that Canadian Heavyweight International Championship. I forget what it's called. Nonetheless, guys, all new champions in TNA in terms of everything on the men's side. The women retained their championships, but the men, all the belts switched hands. So it's a new chapter in TNA. And who better to lead it than Nic Nemeth? Honestly, I was wondering who was going to defeat Moose, and it seemed like Moose was just getting started with that TNA World Championship reign. It seemed like he was going to hold that belt for a lot longer than he truly did. And Nic Nemeth actually gets the victory here, which is awesome. I think Nic Nemeth deserves it, right? He's put his work in. He's a main event guy. And I'm excited to see him main event every pay-per-view and premium live event that TNA is going to have coming up. I think he deserves it. Super cool. That's it for the results, guys. I kind of went through that pretty quickly, but it was a really special week in pro wrestling. TNA Slammiversary was special, and then AEW Dynamite, that opening match between Ospreay and MJF, was very special. very fun time to be a fan this week. But nonetheless, guys, let's get into the news. And we had the former owner of Ring of Honor actually speak out about what he thinks of the brand these days, as he is ultimately dissatisfied with the way that Tony Khan has been running Ring of Honor. Tony Khan, the owner of AEW, bought Ring of Honor in mid 2022. And of course, Ring of Honor, before owned by Tony Khan, was about to go bankrupt. They didn't have any more money left. They were hanging on by a thread, and Tony Khan came in, bought it, and has been running it as not a complete developmental for AEW, but more of a proving ground for AEW. The guys that don't, the men and women that don't go to AEW Dynamite or Collision or even Rampage end up on Ring of Honor. And they're able to prove themselves and they're able to sharpen their skills. And ultimately, yeah, I think Ring of Honor can definitely get a bit better treatment from Tony Khan. I think 3 premium live events a year is not enough, right? I get very excited for the Ring of Honor premium live events, but because there's only 3 of them and they're like 4 months apart from each other, it's hard to follow that momentum up. It's like I might watch it one night and get excited and have a great time, and then and then we don't talk about Ring of Honor for months and months and months. So I would have to agree with the former owner of Ring of Honor for being dissatisfied with the way that Ring of Honor is being treated nowadays by Tony Khan. But at the end of the day, the owner himself was unable to keep Ring of Honor going, and he should be happy that Tony Khan is keeping it going. I'm going to say that honestly, even though I agree that I think Ring of Honor deserves more. Honestly, I think the fact that it's a proving ground or developmental for AEW, it's of sorts, isn't the problem. It's the lack of momentum building, right? You could make Ring of Honor a weekly must-watch show, but Tony Khan has gone on to show in the past 2 years that he doesn't care to do so. So I can see why the owner's upset, the former owner. Let's move on, guys. Kind of a lame topic to talk about there. WWE talent can now keep their names if they decide to go wrestle in another company, which is very interesting, right? That wasn't the case. Cesaro, now known as Claudio Castagnoli in AEW. What's another one? Dean Ambrose in WWE, now known as John Moxley. Daniel Bryan, now known as Bryan Danielson. I feel like these are bad examples because all 3 of those guys that I just mentioned used the names that they're using now before they went to WWE. But if you came up in WWE and then you go to AEW, you can't use the name that everyone came to know you as. Now you can, which is interesting. So who have we been speculating may go to WWE? I don't know. People are worried that Becky Lynch might go to WWE because she hasn't. Because people are worried that Becky Lynch might go to AEW because she hasn't re-signed with WWE. I don't think she's going to go to AEW. But I do think that if Becky Lynch was to go to AEW, she doesn't have to go by her full name, Rebecca Quinn. She could go by and continue using the name Becky Lynch. Pretty cool. Pretty interesting. It's new to the game. We haven't seen that. In the past, if somebody left WWE, they couldn't use the name that they were using in WWE anymore. They had to change their name if they went to AEW or TNA. Nic Nemeth was in WWE as Dolph Ziggler for over a decade, probably even longer. Now he's Nic Nemeth, which is his real name. But let's pretend he got released tomorrow, and then he goes to TNA after that. He would be able to go to TNA as Dolph Ziggler if he wanted to. So we'll see the wrestlers that leave WWE sometime in the future. We'll see if they wish to use the name that they came up with in WWE, or if they go ahead and change their name, because it just happens so often. We'll see if when Adam Copeland comes back, if he starts going by Edge again. I don't know. We'll find out. Pretty interesting. Next, man, we only got two more pieces of news. Jinder Mahal actually made his Game Changer Wrestling debut this past week. So Jinder Mahal will be a part of GCW for the foreseeable future. We'll see how long he's there. We'll see what he gets done there, if he gets a death match in or what have you. We'll see what happens, guys. But nonetheless, Jinder Mahal is in GCW. Cool. Last but not least, and this actually dropped like 20 minutes before I went on here and started recording. Bobby Lashley and MVP are rumored to be leaving WWE. They are no longer a part of the internal roster on WWE.com. That'll be really interesting, man, if Bobby Lashley goes ahead and leaves WWE. He had a great run. He had a great second run, right? He was there from like 2017, 2018 to now. He did a great job. He won the WWE Championship. He put the Hurt Business together, which was a immaculate faction, which was a impeccable faction. And if him and MVP want to go to TNA and create some sort of Hurt Business there, I'd be all for it. Believe it or not, MVP and Bobby Lashley actually had some similar faction to the Hurt Business in TNA back in the day, man. It was like 2011, 2012, something like that. And I thought that shit was awesome. I thought it was even cooler than what they did in WWE. I'm not going to lie. Now, maybe it's because I was a lot younger when that TNA stuff was going on between MVP and Bobby Lashley. But I think if they want to go make a Hurt Business in another company, they totally can. Of course, I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity with WWE because you got Carmelo Hayes, you got Trick Williams, you got the Street Profits. There could have been an incredible Hurt Business. You got Bianca Belair. I could keep it going. Jade Cargill. They could have made an incredible Hurt Business, and I know the fans wanted to see it. But we do know that MVP has been frustrated because he hasn't been able to rebuild the Hurt Business in WWE. So maybe they go to TNA and do it. Maybe they go to AEW and do it. I don't know where they go and do it, but I'd be down to see them get back together in another promotion and restart up the Hurt Business. Maybe call it something else. I don't know, the Pain Business or something. I don't know. Nonetheless, man, Bobby Lashley and MVP are rumored to be leaving WWE. And Tamina. So yeah, Tamina's that third name that was a part of that rumor going around the internet today. So I thought I'd report it here. And that's going to close out our news, ladies and gentlemen. And before I let you guys go, we're going to get into the watch list because you know how we do. Let's get into the watch list, guys. It's a very light week, a very AEW heavy week. So if you don't watch AEW all that much, then I don't got too much for you on this watch list. I do have NXT, and we'll start there. Brooks Jensen takes on Josh Briggs in a no disqualification match on this next week's NXT. These two tag team partners have already wrestled, but it looks like they're going at it again, and this time in a no disqualification match. I'm all there for it, man. I'm going to tune into NXT this week for sure. Next, man, we got two more shows, and the first is AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts. This is a yearly spectacle that AEW puts on, and I get very excited for it because they have yet to miss with the Blood and Guts match. But before we get to the Blood and Guts match, we have Chris Jericho defending the FTW Championship against Minoru Suzuki. Do y'all want to see Minoru Suzuki be the FTW champion? I don't know. I can totally see Jericho retaining. I think Hook is going to win that FTW championship back from Jericho eventually. But nonetheless, guys, we do have Chris Jericho versus Minoru Suzuki on AEW Dynamite, which should be very interesting. And in the main event, we have Team AEW, which is AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland, Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe, The Acclaimed, and Darby Allin taking on The Elite, which is Kazuchika Okada, Jack Perry, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page. I feel like I missed one with Team WWE. No, I didn't. I mean, Team AEW. Good Lord, guys. Man, I had a little sake before I came on here, so I'm a little loose, and I'm, stumbling on my words a little bit. You'll have to excuse me on this episode of the Wrestling is Bullshit Report. Hopefully, y'all are having a good time enjoying and watching this video and being informed. Nonetheless, guys, Wednesdays, AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts. I would check it out. It's War Games, just AEW's version of War Games. So, yeah, if you don't really watch AEW that much, I definitely think this upcoming Wednesday is a good time to get into AEW for sure, even if you just give it one try this week. Last but not least, guys, we have Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. One of 3 yearly pay-per-views put on by Ring of Honor. You could watch it with a subscription to Honor Club, a monthly subscription. You could also watch Ring of Honor every week with a monthly subscription to Honor Club. So maybe you pay for 1 month, watch the premium live event, and then decide if you want to continue on. Watch some episodes of Ring of Honor. Do what you want. I don't care. Let's go down this card nonetheless, guys. Diamante faces Layla Hirsch in a Texas death match. Excited to see a female Texas death match on this card. Should be freaking awesome. Billy Starks defends the ROH Women's World Television Championship against Red Velvet. I'm a big fan of what Billy Starks does, and Billy Starks is exclusive to Ring of Honor. Honestly, I only watch Ring of Honor sometimes to see Billy Starks because I think she's that good. She's a great up-and-coming young wrestler. Athena defends the ROH Women's World Championship against Queen Aminata. Awesome. Fantastic. Glad to see Queen Aminata getting a shot here. And Athena, one of the most underrated champions in the world right now, the ROH Women's World Champion, for sure. Take my word for that. We got 3 more matches on here, guys. Wheeler Yuta defending the Ring of Honor Pure Championship against Lee Moriarty. For those of y'all that forgot, Wheeler Yuta is the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, and he will be defending in Pure Rules against Lee Moriarty. And I do like the Ring of Honor Pure division. I think it's a unique take on professional wrestling, right? They got 3 rope breaks. It's a very technical type of match, and I do like to watch some Ring of Honor Pure Championship matches. Last but not least, Atlantis Jr. defends the Ring of Honor World Television Championship in a 4-way match. And Mark Briscoe, to close it out, defends the Ring of Honor World Championship against Roderick Strong. So that is the watch list, ladies and gentlemen. We got NXT no disqualification match between Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. We got AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts, where we got the yearly Blood and Guts match. Very exciting. War Games for those who aren't familiar with AEW that much. And then on Friday, we got Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. And I'm very excited for both. AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts and Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. Like I said, guys, I wish Ring of Honor would have more premium live events throughout the year because I do know that they deliver. Ring of Honor, like AEW, delivers every single time when it comes to a premium live event / pay-per-view. However, they just, with Ring of Honor in specific, don't do a good job of carrying that momentum over to the television. I think the television is boring as shit. I'm not going to lie. I've tried to watch Ring of Honor. I can't. It's fucking boring. Sorry for the F-bomb. Nonetheless, I do know that these premium live events are must watch. So we'll see if I get around to watching it this Friday. I'll definitely be tuning in for AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts. If there's anything I'm tuning in for this week, it's that. But yeah, guys, this has been another episode of the Wrestling is Bullshit Report. I know I was a pinch off my game today. Like I said, I had a little sake with my dinner. But, life goes on. And I hope I was able to inform you. I hope I was able to make you think. I hope I was able to make you laugh. And I hope I was able to make you cry, because that's a full day, right? If you think, you laugh, and you cry, those 3 things in one day, that's a full day. So, not wrestling related, but I encourage you to every day to think, to laugh, to cry. And I'm going to get on going with my life, guys. I'm going to get out of here, and we'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you on the next episode of the Wrestling is Bullshit Report. I'll probably be back for Monday Night Raw tomorrow as well. Okay, guys. Bye-bye.